Hey everyone, welcome back to Train Tuesday. It's just going to be me today. Janik is out on assignment, and it's mainly because you guys keep him so busy. So, welcome everybody to the broadcast. I see a few folks out there. It's like I see Zach, I see Kyle. Let's see. I also see Michael. So, welcome. Glad you guys could make it. And we're going to talk a little bit about freight cars today. And not sure why, but the studio feels a little different. Not sure why. But hey, Joel, welcome aboard. Sean, nice to see you. Yeah, I was putting some stuff away for the broadcast earlier, and there's something different about the studio. No, Joel, it's not nachos. Otherwise, I would have eaten them already. Daniel, Ricky, welcome aboard. Fred, Rick, everybody's out there. So yeah, whatever. I guess there's something going on. I guess there's a holiday or something coming up. Anyways, there's a tree in the middle of my layout, and there's a bunch of lights. So must be getting close to the holidays. So, man, you know what? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about how we celebrate our holidays. I don't know about you guys, but if there's not at least a train under the tree, there's usually just some kind of train activity going on. So a couple of things real quick. Got some great news to pass on to you guys. Next week, we're going to talk about the ready-to-run SD40s, and we're going to have a special guest. George from Soundtracks is going to join us, and he's going to tell us a little bit about what Soundtracks has done with their economy decoder, which is the first time we're including those with the SD40s. And I know you guys are going to enjoy that. So you got about a week. If you've got some questions for George at Soundtracks next week, definitely come on board, because we're going to show you the new SD40 and what some of the things that we've done to it. And we're going to talk about Soundtracks a little bit. And if you've got some questions about Soundtracks or how to get more out of it, take advantage next week, because like I said, George will be here. We'll be talking all about the SD40s and some other projects that he's working on too. He's a modeler too, so he's got some pretty cool stuff that hopefully he'll be able to bring along and show us. So we've got some really interesting stuff. I'm going to share the screen here. So one of the first things we're going to talk about are these new, first time in Genesis, these covered hoppers. So these are the Pullman standard covered hoppers. We've had them before, but these have been refined so that now they are part of the Genesis line. They are just an amazing piece of rolling stock. Now, first of all, a real background history on these. These were popular starting in about the late 50s, going into the 60s. And we've talked about it on this show before. In the early days, a lot of boxcars, specifically the 40-foot boxcars, were turned into a grain type of freight car. And you can probably guess, probably not the easiest way to move grain. Now, Pullman Standard was one of the first ones to come to market with this style of covered hopper, and you've got that discharge at the bottom. You've got those three bays that open up and allow you to disperse of the grain or the concrete or the sand or whatever that we're being used for. So they actually ended up being used for a variety of different purposes. And we have offered these in Genesis mainly because to give them a little bit more detail, they stand up better to folks that have a nice layout. And as you can see there, we've got them in a variety of road names, and we've got them in a variety of road numbers. So it's real easy to make a grain train, or if you've got an industry that hikes some type of concrete or sand or silica, anything of that nature, these are perfect for that. And as you can see here, we're offering them in the Santa Fe, Baltimore and Ohio, Central Georgia, Chicago Northwestern, Great Northern, Pittsburgh and Lake Erie, and of course, we can't forget the Southern. Now, the cool thing is I want you to take a look at that Great Northern one. That's the big sky blue one. Now, that was the only one painted in that paint scheme. As you know, the Great Northern came out with that paint scheme just about 2 or 3 years before the BN merger, and they introduced that big sky blue. And this was the only car in that series that got painted this. So we've represented it here. That's why you only see it in one road number. So that's kind of cool. You might want to pick that up just because it was just a one-off car. Now, of course, these are they're going to feature the photo etched metal roof walk. They're going to have separate brake cylinder and valve, air reservoir, wire brake plumbing. They're already weighted. They'll pretty much run on any radius, but you don't want to go anything lower than 18 inches, which would look kind of ridiculous anyways. But if you guys have a layout that has maybe a concrete or anything that would take one of these types of covered hoppers, they definitely are an interesting car to have on your layout because they just got a cool look to them. I mean, I know since I've moved here to the Midwest, I've kind of taken a liking to covered hoppers. We didn't see too many of them where I grew up. So there you are. No, they don't have working sanders or working discharge. Maybe in the next release we can do that. But so anyways, while I'm kind of going on to the next one, if you guys have any questions on whatever I'm talking about, throw it up there in the comments. I can't guarantee you I'm going to see it because I'm just running the show myself today. But if you do have any questions and I can catch them, I'll definitely answer them for you. Sean Teller, that's a good comment. Why can't BNSF bring back that big sky blue color? That would be that'd be kind of cool, actually. I'd like to see it. All right. So moving on to our next one. Like I said, these are going to be, the pre-orders for these are going to be just after Christmas. You've got till the 28th. So take notes. If there's anything on here that you see that would work for your layout, definitely go see your dealer. So the next one that we have, we're going to go a little bit later in railroading world. And let's see. Make sure I get the right one here for you. Here we go. All right, so many of you guys already know the history on these. The FMC boxcars, from the mid 70s all the way into the late 70s. It's kind of like the last real hurrah, I guess you'd say, of the boxcar. We all remember, transition era 40-foot boxcars that were really colorful. All kinds of really cool paint schemes. Some were even in pastels, like your Jades, New York Central Jades, and your McGinnis Blues and things like that. I mean, it was a cool time. And this was kind of like the last hurrah of that. These were the boxcars that were built in the 70s. They were on a Lend-Lease program. And again, they were painted pretty much like a billboard. Really colorful paint schemes. But as time went on, they kind of not faded away. They just went on to different roads. And that's what we've got here today. These are the ready to run 50-foot double-door boxcars. And as you can see here, we've got them in a variety of road names. But a lot of them, if you look carefully, and I'll zoom in on these, especially these prime for grind versions, these have new owners. Let me zoom in on the top ones here. You've got two right away that are now Burlington Northern. They were you can see the former owners, it's pretty obvious, and then Burlington Northern took over, and they just, like railroads do, they just kind of sloshed over some paint they had in the shop, and they put some reporting marks on it and called it good. And that's what we've got here. So as you can see here, the Galveston Wharfs, the Union Railroad of Oregon, that's kind of a common, or not common, but it's a popular car because of its kind of a cool mint green color. These cars, not only are they painted in the original owner's paint schemes, but they're faded out. So that Union Railroad of Oregon, that green's even going to be a little bit lighter. It's going to have that distressed look, whereas the reporting marks are going to look somewhat new. These are perfect for anybody that's got a layout that's probably 1980s into the mid to, I'd say probably about mid 90s, depending on how heavy you want to grind them up. And once again, we've offered them in 3 different road numbers per road. We come down a little bit, we see another Burlington Northern. This is a former East St. Louis Junction Railroad. And then we've got something that's kind of cool that we're doing a little bit different this time. We're doing some short lines here. And these basically appear as they were when they're new. You can see the Eureka Western still has the RFID tag on it. Sierra Railroad, these are pretty much as they were when they were new. So any weathering that you've got to do, that's all up to you. But what's cool is we've also offered them in a 3-pack, as you see here. This is the Northern California Shorelines, and it comes with these 3 cars that you see here. And it's kind of neat. I mean, you don't really see this as much as you used to. At one time, when these FMC and a few other 50-foot boxcars were real common, it wasn't uncommon to see them in really interesting paint schemes and colors. And again, these would be great for anywhere in the 70s all the way up to, in some cases, even today. You'd have to do your research a little bit. They'd be in pretty rough shape by now, unless they have been completely rebuilt. But, again, they're ready to go on your layout. You don't have to weight them or anything. They're ready to go. They have the body mount couplers on them. They're really nice metal wheels. They track really well. These are the perfect cars if you've got a layout and you've got some friends coming over for an operating session. These are perfect because there's just enough detail so that they hold up really well, but not so much detail that they're going to break easily. And whoever you have over on your layout operating, they might not be quite as, how do I say it delicately? They might not be as good at having finesse as you. We'll just leave it at that. So there you go. There's some 50-foot FMC double-door box cars. Certainly can be used in just about any type of industry that you've got on your layout. Or if you're part of the modular clubs, then, go ahead. You can run them there too. You don't have to worry about them getting damaged easly. So, all right. I'm just kind of looking at the comments. Anybody got any comments on the FMCs? And all right. Looks like we're doing okay then. Zachary, yeah, the paint schemes in this era were definitely pretty cool. You don't quite see that anymore, although you do see something similar to it, probably with the probably more with like the containers and stuff now. So, all right. Now we've talked a little bit about covered hoppers. We've talked about box cars. Probably should talk about coal. It is that time of year, at least here in Illinois and parts of the Northeast, Northwest. I mean, I guess if you're in Florida, I guess you don't have to worry about it too much. Maybe Texas too, but coal. It does a lot for us, and there's a way we got to get it to the plant. So one of the other things that we're coming out with, and I'll bring this out here, is some bathtub coal cars. And this is perfect for some of the releases that are going to be coming out that we'll talk about here in just a little bit. Let's bring these guys up. So remember a couple of months ago, we talked about those cool SD40s in the Oneida and Western. Well, if you pre-ordered a couple of those, you're probably going to want to pick up the coal cars. We're offering the coal cars, as you can see here. Let's see. And of course, we're offering them in a multi-pack, and we're also offering them in singles. The other one that's pretty cool is the CP rail in the action red with the multi-mark. That is a really cool gondola. We've got the David J. Joseph Company. They've got their assorted paint schemes as seen here. Of course, you got Union Pacific. And here's one for the guys in Canada, out east and northeast. Sullivan Scrap out of Holyoke, Mass. Believe it or not, that was one that we had a lot of requests for. So if you're one of those guys that was asking for the Sullivan Scrap, here's your chance. Again, offering them in single and in multi-pack, so it's real easy to build up one of these coal trains. We've also got the utility fuels and the Carmath incorporated. So once again, I mean, these have separately applied grab irons, the end ladders, brake wheel. They're already weighted with the metal trucks, body mount couplers. And, you're not going to use these in anything but 18-inch or above for proper running. And again, this is great for if you're part of a club and you want to build up a really good coal train. If you're part of a modular club, again, that's one of the things that's always impressive to see these massive coal trains, especially in HL. So we've made it easy for you guys to build up a really good train just with these coal cars. Now, I don't have these in yet, but I do have right behind me the previous CP version, as you can see here. Zoom that into the camera. Multi-mark, but black. So the ones that will be coming out next year will be that action red. But really nice model. You've got that nice metal wheels, correct contour, all that detail in the end too. I know my video isn't doing it quite as much justice as we could, but these are really great cars to run together on a club layout, or if you're lucky enough to have a home layout that's big enough, you can use it on that too. Of course, the coal loads, they do come out, so you have all that detail in there as well. Really nice car. Now, these bathtub guns, there's a few still in stock. The CP rail ones are completely sold out. They're gone now. Check with your dealer. Your dealer might have gotten some, or check with some of your favorite dealers up north. They might still have some of these, but I'll let you know. Anytime the CP stuff comes out, it usually goes pretty quick. So let's see, what else have I got in my goodie bag for you guys? Well, as you can see behind me, there's some stuff, and we all like stuff. So I wanted to let you guys know, because sometimes it's hard to remember what stuff is coming out. And if you're like me, from month to month, you're making pre-orders with your dealer. So you probably forget stuff. And you probably forget, hey, that's in stock. Maybe you didn't pre-order and you've totally forgotten it, but after you've seen your friend have one, you want one. And that's what we're going to talk about next. What's coming in stock and what's in stock. So let's start with what's coming into stock. And there's a couple of things in here I know you guys have been looking for. Let's see. I know there's been some people asking for it, so let me see if I can find some pictures, because I think you guys will like that. Zoom out of here real quick. And if you guys can guess what I'm going to show first, it's a locomotive. It's one that's been asked about pretty much consistently for the last few weeks. And I'll give you another hint while I'm digging through these pictures. It is a 6-axle. So anybody got a guess? Chessie ES44AC. Close. That was last week, I think. ST70 parts handrails. No, not those yet. All right, I'll stop you from guessing, and I'll share my screen, show you what just came in. Janik has been busy, but he has been working on some cool stuff, and these are on their way. Check that out. Pretty cool. Now, here's the cool thing. I was years ago. It's a funny story I have about these. Years ago, when I first started taking the hobby serious, probably 90s. I'd gone from that era of toy trains that we all probably had with our brass rail, and I started getting into much more serious type of modeling. Joined a railroad club. We went out and did this thing I had never done before. It's called rail fanning. I'd never done it before, and this was in the Northeast. We were in the western part of the Massachusetts, and we were rail fanning Conrail, and we just happened to come upon this small town, and this was 25, 30 years ago. I couldn't tell you what town it was. They were having a railroad days, and parked on a siding was one of these, and I got to go inside and see what was new at the time, the desktop model, and it looked just like this. And I was so impressed because coming from where I came from, the most modern locomotive I saw were probably, on the most part, was a GP18. So you guys have been asking about the SC80 Max. They are on their way. You're going to see these probably in January. And let's see what other pics I've got of this model here. Oh, here we go. So Janik also got some pictures of it on the one of the club layouts out by Athearn out in Long Beach. Here's the demonstrator version. And with this one here, we've done a lot of work. So as you can see there, he's got the class lights lit up. There's a lot of different little lighting functions with this model. So really, really did update this model a little bit from what it had been before. So when can you expect these? Well, we should be getting these in probably at the first of the year. So if you order one of these, be prepared to make room on the layout. If you didn't order one of these and you think you want to, talk to your dealer now. As far as I know, there should be enough in to take care of a few stragglers, but I don't anticipate these lasting long. So you're probably going to want to get ahead of that game and order one or two or how many you need for your layout. Now, we're going to go back a little bit in time as far as locomotives are going. And there's another release that's due out a little bit sooner. It should be the first week of January, maybe right after Christmas. And that's the GP40-2s in the Genesis series. Jack Ross, who works for us at Athearn, he took these pictures for us and he sent them to me the other day. And obviously there's the Union Pacific. The GP40-2 still can be seen working yards and sometimes smaller short lines today. These are going to be pretty much reflective of the era of late 70s into the 80s and in some cases into the 90s. But here's the Union Pacific version. We can't have a Train Tuesday without Southern Pacific. Still, really classy paint scheme. This looks really good with the gray and the scarlet. Western Pacific, another interesting paint scheme you don't see much of. And that dark green really looked nice. And of course, they had a few of the GP40s. And as you can see, the Western Pacific, they did something slightly different. They had both a cab headlight and a nose headlight. That's represented here. Here's one that I remember. This is the Boston to Maine GP40-2s. Actually, the last locomotive order that Boston to Maine had in 1978 before being bought out by Guilford in 1983, if I remember right. The 40-2s for my neck of the woods, this was big power back in the day. And these also introduced a slightly new paint scheme for the railroad. And certainly brings back some memories. So these should be coming out, like I said, in December, probably the later part of December. And these are great locomotives because they work good. If you get a few of them, they work good in a railroad layout that's either modular or club layout or If you're lucky enough to have a home layout that's big enough, you can use them for that. And in some cases, in modern times, I've even seen these used as branch line and switchers. So really cool release. If you are like me and you did not do a pre-order on these, get to your dealers now, because there's a chance that we might be able to help fulfill your needs for those. I know, just making sure the wife doesn't hear me. I know the ones in Boston and Maine will probably be on my Christmas list that I'll buy for myself. So speaking about buying things for myself, and I'm really bad at this, but I mean, we all like trains. That's why we're here. And recently, some new stuff came into stock, and I wanted to pick some things up. I wanted to do something a little bit different. So let me see if I got a good picture of it. Oh, I forget the Norfolk and Southern. They had GP40-2s as well. Obviously, the earlier scheme too. It's not too much like the modern scheme, but and then we've got this guy. This is not a GP40-2, obviously. This is one that just came into stock, I'd say within the last week or so. So you're probably wondering, hey, Jim, I know you work for Athearn. I know you have mentioned that you like Southern Pacific stuff. I know you are a big Boston and Maine Central fan. You like BNSF. What are you doing with a Norfolk and Western? Now, that's a great question. First of all, I wanted to show everybody the new Jeeps that have come into stock, and these are available right now. We sold out of a few of these, but we still have a few of the Wabash and Norfolk and Western units, a few of the Rock Island units. But I picked this one up because we've talked a little bit about doing a project railroad here at Athearn, and you're going to need something to move cars around with. And this former Wabash unit would be perfect for that. This represents a Norfolk and Western Jeep 7 as it appeared in the mid-1970s. And I don't have the tags on it yet, the RFID tags, but I'll probably put those on eventually once the layout's actually up and running. And the reason why I chose this is because when I moved to Illinois about 22 years ago, I lived not too far from where the Wabash used to be. And I've always been kind of fascinated with the Wabash. And of course, we all know the Wabash became the Norfolk and Western. So there you have it. I went ahead and picked this up about a week ago. And actually, instead of just showing you a picture, I've got it right behind me. So there it is. Now, 3462, we actually offer the same locomotive, but in Wabash, and it would be number 462. And the Wabash is going to be the simplified blue scheme with the yellow, but the details are going to be about the same. The only difference really is that with the Norfolk and Western, we have the RFID tag that you need to apply to the stanchions. So for today's shout out, I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see it. I apologize for that light. There we go. This logo here, Norfolk and Western. What was the rail fan term? The slang term for it. There was a specific term that they gave it. First person that can shout out to me what that logo was called. Yeah, and you're right, Maxwell. ACI. It's too many days at Walmart or something. What do they call that logo? So give me I'm waiting for it. Zach, man, you're close. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna give it to Zach. You got the color right too. Because I've heard a couple of different things. Maybe it's because it's from parts of the country where you're from. But Zach, I think you were the first one to put it up there, the hamburger scheme. Because if you look at it, I used to call it the Big Mac. Some people called it the Burger King logo. But yeah, the hamburger scheme, yeah, technically I think that's the most common one. So definitely. So if you want one of these Jeep 7s, like I said, we still got some of the Norfolk Western. We have just a few of the Wabash left, a few of the Rock Island, the former Rio Grande versions that are around. Some of the other ones that we sold out. Every time we come out with Jeep 7s, Jeep 9s, they're extremely popular. They sell out quick. So you're going to want to check those out. Now, the other thing I brought in today, move these guys down. The ready-to-run 60-foot bulkhead flat cars. They are in stock. These are perfect for the guys out there that have lumber as an industry on their layout or their switching layout. Really nice cars. Put a little bit of weathering on there. You're ready to go. Now, these are in stock. The trailer train one is in stock. The Burlington Northern one is in stock. Rick, I think you mean undecorated. Not at this point. We don't have these in undecorated. But we do have them in both the early version, the later version of the trailer train like I've got here. We have them in Burlington Northern, Illinois Central, Sioux Line, but they're going quickly. They've been in stock for about a week or so. Check with your dealer because your dealer probably has them. If your dealer is out of these and you're looking for these, you can still have your dealer order them. There's still a few left in stock. So definitely. And I mean, with a little bit of weathering, a little bit of some time building up some loads and such, these really look nice. They sit well, they run well. Like I said, they've got body mounted couplers. There's if I can hold that up to the camera just right. There we go. Really nice details. So yes, somebody was asking in the comments, when did the bulkhead flats come out? Flat cars obviously have been around for a while, but the bulkheads, they started to really become common in the early to mid 1970s. By 1980, this was very, very common. This particular one is based on a mid 70s to 80 version. So if you're running a layout that's in the mid 70s and up to modern times, really, I still see these. They're great. Somebody else had a question / comment. How do they track? They track really well. The weight is hidden very well underneath the chassis, but they've got a nice weight to them. That, along with their metal wheels, they do really well. I've got this little module here. I know that's not a real test of its abilities, but if you've got a small switching layout or anything of that nature, they work great. Here's the Burlington Northern version. As you know, I'm kind of partial to Burlington Northern, that Cascade green. But just imagine that on your layout. Put a little bit of weathering on there. And if I can zoom in, see if that camera will do it justice. Try to get that glare off, but you can see it's too much glare there. There we go. So again, these are in stock. If your dealer doesn't have any and you're looking for these, have him order you some. I almost feel like I ought to test you guys, but I don't know if it'd be fair. I have an advantage or a speech impediment, depending on who you talk to. This brings back memories. Now, funny memories too. If I talk to somebody from, say, the Midwest, they'll say this is called the Providence and Worcester Railroad. I'm waiting to see in the comments if there's anybody from Vermont, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Maine, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New York that is laughing right now. Not seeing that. It's Providence and Worcester. Okay? Just remember that. These cool cars, they are in stock. And these are available as both a single and also as a 3-pack. This particular one here I grabbed was from one of our 3-packs. And this would represent a car from the early 80s. Still got that bright orange paint scheme that they're famous for, or they were famous for. Not the orange that they have now. Again, these are great for any type of warehouse or any type of customer that would take a boxcar. And the nice thing about the Providence and Worcester, small enough railroad, you would have seen these all over New England. even parts of Canada. I've seen pictures of these up north. And I mean, just like all of them, they're properly weighted. The metal wheel sets, all of that, the body mounted couplers. These just are great operating locomotives. So Providence and Worcester is in stock now. You ever notice how hard it is to put these on when there's a camera on you? There we go. Now, for something a little bit north of that area, we've also got this really cool. How many remember these? I remember these as a kid. I'd see these in New England. These are also in stock. These are going quick. Lately, we've seen a lot of guys from anything that's coming from Canada just go really quickly. So if you really like this cool paint scheme, got the red ends. Can4 Forest Products. These are in stock as well. So anything like I showed you that's on the module here, anything that's on the module, they are in stock. Check with your dealer. If your dealer doesn't have it, then your dealer can call Athearn and they can place an order and get it to you quickly. I don't know about you, but no matter what type of layout I have, I'm always in the need of some type of freight car. And how many times have you built a new structure and then realize you don't have the right cars for it? Now, maybe some of the guys that have been doing this for a long time, they've been building their layout for a long time, that might not be a problem. But for some of us that are just starting to, get a switching layout built or something of that nature, you always need something like that. And, I almost forgot one more thing. A couple of weeks ago, I showed you the 53-foot reefers. Yeah. Guess what's almost out of stock? You got it. This is the last. There's only one road number left of these Western 53-foot reefers in stock. It's a really cool paint scheme. I like that. If you missed out on these, you still have a chance to grab one. There's a few of those left in stock, not very many. I looked before the show. The Conleys, I think I showed you guys this a couple of weeks ago too. Same thing. We've got a few of these in stock, but these 53-foot reefers, they're going quick. So if you're on the fence about it, you might want to get off the fence. You might want to go to your dealer and say, hey, can I get one of these trailers? And I'll hold that up again. These are really nice. Try to hold that up. The camera doesn't do it justice. Really nice trucks. There's not much you got to do. Maybe just a little bit of detail painting, but not much. I mean, look, you can kind of, if I hold that right, you can even see for the spot for the spare. A little bit of weathering. These things just look phenomenal. And the thing I like about these, look, it's even got the tag. Can't quite make it out because of the camera, not because of the graphic of, the dangerous blind spot to a semi. And tell you what, if you want to see really good pictures of these, go to our website. And our photographer is phenomenal. He's been doing this for a number of years, and he's got some really good pictures on the web. In fact, maybe what we can do is let's go ahead and take a trip real quick. And let's see if I can show you some of his work. Let's see. And while we're doing this is a good way, too, for you guys. I know what it's like. I mean, it's one thing to sit here and watch the show and watch me talk about all these cool things that we have in stock or what's coming soon. But let's be honest. I mean, we're guys. We're always thinking about the next thing, which could be dinner, the red-green show. I don't know. It could be anything. And I know I have to go to our website now and then just to get my memory jogged. I'm going to show you guys something that'll help you out a little bit. All right, so here we are at the Athearn website. And we want to look up those 53-foot reefers. So here's what we'll do. We'll go to HO scale. I'm going to go to ready to roll. I'm going to select vehicles. And 53-foot reefer. There we go. Now, so you can see that we've got some that are due out in 2020. Or I'm sorry, these were announced in 2020 and they're not due until next day, October. But the ones that are in stock are just a page away. There we go. There's one. Let's see if we can find that blue. Let's see, like the Navajos are completely sold out. They went quick. Here's one that's in stock, the Western that we talked about earlier. So that will show you up here that it's in stock. Now, some people have asked me, hey, you know, there's a new item that I wanted to buy. I went to your website, and in here, it didn't say in stock. It said discontinued, but it hasn't even come out yet. Well, that's a great question. As you know, we do pre-orders. And with those pre-orders, there's a set amount that are produced. So if you're one of the guys that says, hey, I want one of these and I pre-order, then it doesn't matter if it says in stock, out of stock, or discontinued, you're going to get it. You're going to get it through your dealer. But let's just say, for example, I wasn't the smartest guy in the room and I didn't pre-order those Boston & Maine GP40-2s, and I know they're in the warehouse, but it says discontinued. What does that mean? Well, that means that every single one of those locomotives that came in is already spoken for. It's already been sold. So if you come into that situation, there's really, unfortunately, not much you can do except to wait for the next release or just kind of use it as a learning lesson like I have with a couple of different locomotives. So that's one way to find something that you're looking for. Another thing that I do too, and this comes in handy, go up here to advanced search. Let's look at Genesis. So I'll select Genesis. And of course, I'm looking for more diesels for my layout. Select diesels. And then down here, I'll select in stock. So right away, hey, remember those ES44s that we talked about last December? Well, they're in stock. And these are the really cool, we've got some really cool weathered ones in here. Here's the Union Pacific with the replacement doors. About a couple of months ago, I think Janik posted a picture of this one. This is the one that's got the primered doors. So those are in stock now. So that basically means that you have an option to know that you're going to have them. And if you haven't ordered them, pre-ordered them, you still get a chance to talk to your dealer and say, you know what, I changed my mind. I want to get some of those ES44s. So there's your opportunity. You can also see we got those beautiful Canadian Pacific versions right beside it. Stay tuned. We're going to see a review of one of those locomotives here real soon. All right. So hopefully that helps you guys out when you're looking for something. That's just an easy way to do it. I know I use it here at work all the time because we've got stuff coming in all the time. So definitely kind of keep that in the back of your mind. If you pre-ordered something, you pretty much just have to wait for the phone call from your dealer to say, hey, your item has come in. If you did miss that pre-order date, you still have a chance to get something. All right. Well, there's one last thing that I wanted to show you guys before we get to Q&A and some rail fanning. And we're still looking for somebody in product management for the Athearn line. Now, if you guys weren't here last week, I played a quick little video because we had some questions as to what the requirements were. And I'm just going to play that here for you real quick, and we can talk about that, and then we'll do some rail fanning. Last week, we spoke about the new position that opened up here at Athearn, and that's for the product manager. We got a lot of comments, and we also got some questions. And 3 questions need to be addressed because they kept coming up over and over again. So let's clear those up right now. The ability to speak Chinese, it's not really a requirement. However, it is a plus. You must be a U.S. citizen and you must be located here in the United States. And while this job does allow you to work remotely, that remote location must be within the United States. You must have strong product management experience as well as modeling experience, because really, both go hand in hand with this job. If this still sounds interesting to you, and you like to see concept go to reality, please go to horizonhobbyllc.com, select the Careers tab, and you're on your way. We hope to hear from you soon. All right, so if you haven't done that and you've been thinking about it, definitely go ahead and we want to hear from you. We want to put you into where all the tools are at your fingertips, and you might be able to make that next locomotive that you've wanted. So definitely look into that. Also, our holiday contest is still going. So if you've got your holiday pictures, now the one behind me doesn't count. That's not really, that's just kind of something I threw together. We're looking for those type of pictures that kind of show this time of year, whether it be a nice family picture, maybe it's you and your son or your grandson enjoying the hobby together, or maybe you have a really cool, prototype looking picture that you'd like to show for the holiday season. Go ahead, and in fact, I've got let me get that rolling here for you. There's the email address. We are checking that email, seeing what we have. And from time to time, we'll be posting the contestant pictures on our Facebook page right up pretty much for the month of December. Now, don't forget, if you're chosen as the winner, you'll get an Athens Genesis Union Pacific locomotive, as well as a chance to star for about 15 minutes or so, letting us know how you did what you did. And you get to talk with myself and Janik, and it's just going to be a fun thing to do for the holiday season. Something else to remember too, as we go into 2021, we're going to have more contests going on. So keep that in mind. You're going to want to show up for the episodes, because besides just talking about stuff that we're making, stuff that's coming in, stuff that's here, we're going to be doing some cool stuff that's going to get you guys to participate. So clean up those layouts, start showing us your projects, because those contests, like I said, will start very promptly at the beginning of the year. All right. Well, how about some rail fanning? How many want to do some rail fanning? And then we'll do some questions as well. I'll let that run just a little bit longer in case anybody has not had a chance to get that address down. But I think, where are we going today? Oh, been a lot of talk about Canada lately, so let's go to Canada. Hey, look at that. We actually, on a train Tuesday, and we got a train. That's awesome. Okay. All right. Got ourselves a nice container train. Hey, check this out. We got some power there. All right. All right, let's take some questions or some comments. We'll go ahead and answer them, and then we'll see what else comes down these rails. Hopefully this is a good sign. I like to see that. Let's see. Let's see, Kevin. Open auto racks would be cool to see. No pun intended. Yes, they would be cool to see. I'm kind of partial to that era of freight traffic, so I'd definitely be for it. We'd have to talk to Janik and see what kind of work would have to be done. Going back into the history of those auto racks, they started out as all open, and then they slowly became enclosed. So there's a possibility we might be able to backdate something, but that would be a good one for Janik. See if that's something that's possible. Let's see. Tim Peters wants to know, any update on new Mkt products? Well, we've heard you guys. Don't have any updates right now, but it is in the forefront of our minds. We haven't forgotten you. We've always been we've always had really good success with the Mkt products, and I know Janik has been working on getting some of the material together. There were some comments about the shades of green that were up for debate. I know he's working hard at that, so definitely something that's on our task list, if you will. Let's see. And Sparky, there's a good question. Will the contest be available to people that watch the replay or have to be in the live stream? No, that's a good question, Sparky. No, if you're watching this later, because I know, right now we're live, but you might be watching this on a Friday and it's not live anymore. As long as it's through those dates, the holiday contest that we're running right now, it runs till the 17th. And then the contest that we'll be doing in 2021, they're going to be bigger contests, and they're going to be about a 3-month window for you to get that stuff done. So as long as your contest submissions are in within that window, you're eligible. You don't have to be here physically for the live stream. If you're watching this on YouTube and the dates are still open, by all means, we want to see your work. Let's see. Guys, we've got some great stuff here today. I'm going to take Greg Dixon. Greg's asking for more new trucks, White, Dodge, Ford, GMC, International Harvester. Those are all great brands. We have some Ford. I don't think we've done Dodge. International Harvester, very limited, but I myself, again, being a Boston and Maine fan, Boston and Maine use International Harvester pickup trucks. If you remember International Harvester pickup trucks and Scouts, you're old. But they use those for maintenance trucks. So I'd obviously like to see those. White's another good brand that we'd like to see. I think there's been a little bit of talk about GMC, but I don't know. Now, that being said, with any of those vehicle brands, the biggest thing that we have to worry about, and I'm seeing it in the comments, so you guys probably already know this, it's all about licensing. Licensing has a large part to do with it. And so sometimes when you see a cool product that's modeled after an actual item and you wonder, why is the price that price? Sometimes it has to do with licensing. And some licenses are easier to get than others. Some are more expensive than others. But for the most part, we are looking at kind of getting some more representation of HO scale and to some part N scale vehicles for your layouts. Let's see. Zach Malcolm. Do you have Pan Am Heritage Units 77 and 52? Interesting. We actually haven't talked about that, but if that's something that we get enough requests for, definitely. It's pretty cool how they did that. And of course, now most of you rail fans out there, y'all know what's transpired in the last few weeks with Pan Am. It's looking like, I don't think it's been 100% approved yet, but it looks like they're going to become CSX. Looks like CSX is going to be buying them. I'm sure Norfolk Southern will have something to say about that. Daniel Archer, I'm going to grab you. We got some great comments coming in today. Lono's GP18 Mopac, L&N, NS, NYSW. Never heard of that last road name, Boston to Maine. Something that we're looking at. And Brad, I got you here too. You're asking for CP GP9U, CN GP9RM, please. That means he really wants them. This post is brought to you by the Canadian GP9 gang. I like that gang. Yes, yes to everything. We're looking into those things. I can't promise you a date or anything of that nature, but we do hear the requests. Something else that we're going to do that is not only for making it easier for you guys, but also making it easier for us for tracking, is we're going to be having an email set up soon on the Athearn website. And it's basically suggest your next locomotive, freight car, what have you. We want to hear what you guys want. And you can send in an email and say, hey, I want chop nose GP9 RMs or whatever it is that you're looking for. And that's how we can start calculating which projects to do first. Mike, I'm going to see if I can grab you here. Mike, he wants to know, how about another run of Athearn fire engines? Stay tuned. We should be, I think we're going to be doing something that you'll like here in a little bit. Stay tuned. Sparky, another good question. Sparky's got great questions today. When it comes to Athearn making new models from requests, how many requests does it take before you start to consider making it to the actual making of the model? So there's a couple of things going on there. Let's take, for example, the SD70 ACU. Now, that was a model that was brand new. We didn't have the molds for it, nothing. We started from scratch. That took a lot of requests, years worth of requests, really. Now, for something that we can modify, adapt, change, say like a chop nose Jeep 7 or Jeep 9, if we get enough requests for that, you're probably, I don't have a firm number in my head, but we start to see a pattern. And when that pattern keeps coming out, then we are more inclined to set our resources to get that done. Now, for something like the TH&B Jeeps that we just announced this month, that one was pretty easy because we were consistently getting questions about them, people wanting to see them, both in email. Back when we had train shows, we heard from you folks, and of course here on Train Tuesday. And so that one was really easy because it was mainly just research and paint. So it depends on what it is you're asking for. If it's a model that we just don't have, like say an SD9, and it's going to require ground up, it may take a while. And of course, we might have already decided that we're going to do that model while you're still asking for it, because in some cases it takes years for these to get properly, designed, built, and tested and run. But that's a great question, Sparky. What else? Man, you guys are on fire today, which is good because it makes the show more interesting for everybody involved. It's trying to pick out which ones. Oh, here's a cool one. Here's a comment. Let's see, where'd he go? They're coming in so fast. Thomas. Genesis Milwaukee Road GP9s with dynamic brakes. That would be cool. Not going to lie. Oh, hey, we got something coming too. Perfect timing. And, as far as everybody that's out there with me today, we try to do a good mix of Midwest roads, Northeast roads, Southern roads. What's everybody modeling right now? What's on your radar? Let us know. I mean, we're seeing a lot of MKT fans out there today. I've seen a few folks for BN and then later on BNSF. Here's a good one from Paul. I'll put him up quick. Paul wants to know, will we ever see another one of those roundhouse steam locomotives produced, like the 060, the 262, the 442, or the modern 280? That's a great question, Paul. With everything, I mean, as things progress, people's tastes change and how what we expect of our locomotives and such change. So there are some things that require a little bit of fine tuning, and I want to say that we've looked into those steam locomotives, and I think you're going to probably be pretty happy with what we offer in 2021. And I'll just leave it at that. But we haven't forgotten those. Let's see. The CPSD60Ms, when are they coming out? Somebody asked me that, Keenan, the other night. And I wanted to say maybe second quarter of next year. I don't have a firm date on that yet. They're still, they're still coming. They're just, I don't have a firm date yet, but we'll keep you posted on those. Here's a vote from Michael. Amtrak, 70s and 80s, and Chessie. Chessie gets a lot of fan base love, and we've had some requests for Chessie, so definitely. And I guess early-ish Amtrak, we get a little bit of requests for that, but honestly, we get more Chessie requests than Amtrak. But again, I think we've got some stuff coming out in 21 that you're probably going to be pretty happy with. Let's see. Steven's got some good list of names of stuff you'd like to see. Montana Railing, Kansas City Southern, Wisconsin Central, Farm Rail. That's one you don't really see much. That's pretty interesting. Let me see. Man, you guys got some great suggestions here. There's some comments out there. I mean, they've got stuff that we can talk about. I just don't want to put the whole thing out there, but there's stuff that we've released recently that we realize is close to other things. We're working on some stuff. Now, if you really, 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 really want those, and you have what it takes to be our next product guy, definitely give us a call, because then we can get it to market sooner. Any plans for an expanded freight car line? Not at this time. We've actually got a pretty deep line as it is. That being said, if there's a freight car consistently you think we're missing that you'd like us to do in a certain road or anything of that nature, let us know. If you think we've been too heavy on one freight car and not another, by all means, let us know. Let's see, Todd Arnett wants to know, do you work with any historical societies regarding builders' drawings? So there's a couple of things, and right now it's just Janik that does this. Janik will go outbound with a lot of the stuff that we're working on, and he'll talk to these different historical societies. And yes, in many cases, not only will he go after the drawings, even on something as simple as, say, a Jeep 7 or a Jeep 9, depending on the railroad and depending on what era that railroad had that model, he's going to need to find out what type of horn system did it have, what type of bell, did it run long hood forward or short hood forward, just these type of things. And so that's where the historical societies come into play. Because again, Janik and I are both model railroaders, but we can't know everything about every single locomotive from every different railroad that ever existed. So he'll go outbound with the societies and talk about that. And also he sometimes is fortunate enough to get paint chip samples, things of that nature, so that he can get everything together so that when they manufacture these locomotives, they're as accurate as possible. But very good question. Rick Simpson asking for the Ocean Network Express 45-foot pink container sets, please. Every time I see those, I think of the soft drink tab. It reminds me of a tab can. Yeah, stay tuned, Rick. Daniel's asking for more shortline schemes in Jeep 7s, F7s, 9s, and 18s. Yeah, that's a great comment. You've probably noticed that we'll come out with a Jeep 7, Jeep 9 as it was delivered, as it came out, in the 70s, and then later than that, there'll be different paint schemes of it. But yeah, if there's short lines that you guys want to see, I saw another comment. Somebody was asking for logging railroads. Definitely. Let us know. And once that email comes online, you can go to our website and request all you like. That does remind me too, a couple of weeks ago, we had somebody asking about the Athearn email newsletter. If you've been missing that, it is going to be going back online again. There were some things in the background on the web that had to be taken care of, but that has all been taken care of now. And that will be back and running again, so you can sign up for the Athearn newsletter email and keep ahead of what's coming out for pre-orders. And you can also see any announcements that you may have missed on the broadcast here or on our social media platforms. Man, you guys are seeing a couple of requests for Ontario Northland. Yeah, that is one that we do seem to get some requests for. Walter's looking for a L&N F7. What specifically, Walter, what paint scheme, what era? Let us know. That's something else too. I mean, we always want to see which paint schemes might sell better, and that just depends on who is asking for what. West Coast Rail says, hey, James, I just pre-ordered my ST70 ACUs. All right. Congratulations. I know you're going to love those. I've got a couple coming in. Emmett, you want to know where's Janik? Janik is on assignment. Janik is hiding away, toiling away, trying to get stuff done. Because, the problem is we have these shows like this, and between you and I, we come up with all these great ideas. And so Janik has to put those great ideas to task and try to get those done. Let's see. So I'm just trying to narrow down which comments I want to take because there's some really good ones out here today. Asher, I know you've been up there a couple of times. I keep missing you. You're looking for UP 1982 and UP 1988 Missouri Pacific and Katy. Please, they were the first two heritage units I ever saw. Yeah, we've talked about that. We offered those years ago. And of course, it's probably time to maybe revisit those and see maybe Genesis 2.0. I don't know. Let us know your thoughts on that. That's something we've actually thought about, but we haven't quite committed to it yet. Gregory's got a great comment. Simplified and big sky blue. Great Northern GPs. I love that color scheme. I really like that paint scheme. It's just kind of unfortunate. It didn't last long. A couple of years later, it was Cascade Green. So I'll agree with you on that one. I think that's a great paint scheme. Hey, here's a good one from Steve. Where'd you go? There we go. Have you thought about doing a survey for 2021 and giving out the top 5 requests and let the people vote for what they want first? You know what? That's a great idea, Stephen, and it's actually something we've talked about. So keep your eyes open. Like I said, 2021, we've got a lot of great things coming out, a lot of things that are going to let you become a part of it. So I'm kind of letting the cat out of the bag a little early on that, but yes, we are going to want to hear from you. Look for surveys, look for a little bit more feedback from the modelers. All right. Well, we're starting to wind down a little bit. We'll take one or two more questions or comments, and then we're going to call this show done. I can't do a show without the weekly the weekly request. Oh man. Let's see. Terry's got a request for some throgons. Very good suggestion. Oops. Sam's got a question / request. Genesis SD50s, SD60s, is that something that we would see at some point? We do get a lot of questions regarding that. We're looking at the possibility. I can't commit on it, but we have had requests for that. So we'll keep you posted. NS Top Guns. Oh yeah. Good request. And let's see, I'll take one more. Who's going to be the lucky guy to be the last one? And specifically, too, if you've got questions on anything that we've talked about today, let me know. Trying to pick somebody. I don't want to have favorites, so I'm trying to pick somebody new. Let's see what we got here. U-boats. Oh, man, if we had so much time. Sean, I'd pick you, but you gotta say something. Sean, if you got a request for something, quick, here's your chance. Let's see. West Coast Rails, his hand is up. Okay, I see that. What was your question, though? All right, we're going with the last one. Here it is. Matt Martin, Kansas City Southern, Bicentennial, SD40-2. Whoops. That's cool. So my question for you is, would you want that in Genesis or ready to roll? Ready to roll, we could probably work something out. Genesis would take a little bit longer, but with that, we're gonna tie up this show for the week. Now, don't forget, like I said, next week I'm going to be pleased to have George Bogatas with us from Soundtracks. We're going to talk about the SD40 and the ready to run line. Got some cool roads this time, and this is the first time we're offering it with the economy decoder, sound decoder. So George is going to come on board, tell us a little bit about it. He's going to maybe show us a few things that we might not know right off the top of our heads on what we can do with these. Sometimes we get these great locomotives with these great decoders, and we only tap into a small portion of the potential there. So, like I said, you got about a week. If you got a Soundtracks question or a Tsunami question, be prepared to come on board next week, Tuesday, 3:30 Central Standard Time, just like always. And George will be here to answer those questions and show you probably what he's working on too, because he's another one of those guys. He's into modeling. He loves it, just like us. So until then, I want to say thanks to everybody for showing up today. Thanks for coming on board. Thanks for the kind words. Don't forget about the holiday photo contest, and don't forget about those things that we talked about today. You still got time to, I don't know, write it down on a list, stick it on the refrigerator, and your wife can go to the hobby shop maybe and get those things for you. But until next Tuesday, I want you all to stay safe, stay healthy, and high greens, everybody. Have a great week.